It's time to kick up your life with Master Mel.
You could be the hero, you could get the gold. Breaking all the records they thought never could be broke.
Learn how to optimize your business and your life with Master Melodee Meyer. As she speaks with thought leaders, athletes, entrepreneurs, and high achievers to discover their secrets of success. Master Mel uses her experience in martial arts, nutrition, fitness, and psychology to help you kick it up to the next level of mastery in your life. And now, here's your host, Master Mel.
All right. Hello. This is Melodee Meyer, and I'm so happy to have you here. Welcome to all of you who are listening live on the radio. And if you're joining us on Crowdcast, you can just type in a question whenever you have one. And thank you for those who are also listening or watching the replay. Feel free to leave comments. And as always, I love to continue the conversation on my website, mastermel.com. Now, I'm really super excited to introduce to you a very special guest that I have today. It's Benny the Jet Urquidez. Urquidez. I practiced that and I still blew it. There you go. Now, this guy is the world champion across all weight classes and all styles of martial arts. He retired from professional competition, remaining undefeated for 27 years, the longest reigning world champion in history, not just of modern martial arts, but in all sports. Sensei Benny continues to push forward with the newest and greatest phase of his life as a martial artist, that as a full-time teacher. He teaches seminars and classes the world over. He can be found at bennythejet.com with thousands of hours of training and tips there. And he likes to say, forget what you know and remember what you've learned. It's an invitation for all of us to become more effective with what remains. So welcome, Benny the Jet. How are you, sir?
I'm wonderful, thank you. So if it gets any better than this, it gets scary.
I like it. I like it. So I have so many questions for you today, and I'm excited about, getting a few little nuggets of information that's going to help people become higher achievers in their own life. And I know your life story. I've read a lot about you. I've seen some of your fights and so forth, and you're a very inspiring person. So I'm excited about that. But I'm also excited to hear about your philosophies and about what it is that you think about this new time in your life while you're teaching and all the kinds of things you're teaching besides just techniques and so forth. So that's kind of what I'd like to go over with you today. Does that sound good?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. So first, the first question, you've probably been asked this a million times, but I have to know, where did the Jet come in? How did you get that name?
Actually, I was at Madison Square Gardens, and I was fighting, and a gentleman called Donar Garcia, I was known for my jump kicking, and when I was fighting, he was saying, Jet, come on, let me see you do some jump kicking. Let me see you fly. And he said, come on, fly like a jet. And so everybody kept on shouting out. You got 15, 20,000 people saying, Jet, Jet. So I jumped up and I was fighting. I ended up doing a jump spinning back kick, stopping my opponent. And at the time, Elton John, and there was a lot of celebrities were there and so forth. And a year later, Benny the Jet came out. And whether it was about me or not, all that matters is stuck to me. And so I traveled the world being Benny the Jet.
It's a great name. I love it. And you must be called that all the time. In fact, that's why I had such a hard time saying your name today, because I'm all like, I never use his name. He's just Benny the Jet.
That's funny that, people that actually are family, so they call me, they actually call me Thunder and Iron Horse. And people that follow me, actually call me Benny the Jet. Yeah. And people that train with me call me Sensei. So I answer to all the above.
Well, I'll be calling you Sensei Benny too, I'm sure, because I hear a lot of people refer to you as that. And for those of you who are listening who are not martial artists, Sensei means teacher. and it's an honored teacher position. And so I have no problem calling you that, or Master Benny too works for me.
Well, actually, to me, master, I'm learning to master myself.
Yes.
When I learn to master myself completely, then I'll go on to mastery. But for right now, I'm sensei. I'm a teacher.
That's great. I know I had to come to terms with that whole thing about master and what master means to me. And for me, it's really someone who is working on mastery, not someone who has already mastered in the past, but it's a verb in the present. That's just me.
I think that life one day at a time is a mastery.
Yes.
And I mean, it's a roller coaster ride of emotions, and it's learning how to really, truly, when it comes down to it, it is about you and everybody individually. It is about you, period, on your journey. So that is, to learn that, because life is like a roller coaster ride of emotions up and down, is how you learn to master that, is learning to turn yourself inside out, looking at yourself. That's mastery.
Yeah. Wow. I like that, Benny. So can you tell me a little bit about you getting started in martial arts? You started very, very young, didn't you?
Actually, when I was 3, all the kids had fire trucks and so forth. I had boxing gloves. I was boxing at the age of 3, and I actually competed in '58 boxing Pee Wee division, and then I started judo at the in '59, '60, and I was competing in judo all the way up until '63. Then I started Kimpo Karate. With Mr. Parker and Sensei Birazaki. And from there, I actually had a chance in '65. I had a chance to see Bruce Lee. I was sitting, he was doing a demonstration, and I was asking my brother, why does he talk like that? And my brother slapped me in the head and said, don't be disrespectful, but I never heard anybody with that kind of accent. And he was talking about the 4-finger punch. And he was talking about an internal power. And my mother was teaching me about internal power, which I had no idea what she was saying, but I had a chance to see Bruce Lee do it live. And he had this 250-pound gentleman with a big metal plate, a weightlifting plate on his chest. And he put a 4 fingers to the plate and hit it with it and drove this 250-pound guy backwards 3 feet into a chair and drove him over. I jumped off my feet. I said, I want to do that. I think that in that, that really made me wanted to understand the arts, period. And so that's when I started going. My brother started with Kubota doing Shotokan. So I went from Shotokan. I went from a hard style to a soft style to a hard style to a soft style. And my brother used to say, quit with that la foo-foo. And he used to make fun of me because I like hard and soft. My brother was a very traditional hard style, Shotokan, and I just like the hard and soft styles. So by the time a matter of fact, it was in '69, they had this big competition. It was for the Elvis Presley team. And so everybody was fighting to get in position to actually be on the team. And I was the youngest and actually the lightest. I was 140 pounds at 5'6", and the rest of them were 200, 180, 175. I mean, I'm talking about the best of the best. And truly, it was incredible. It was incredible. So from that point, I got a chance to be on the Elvis Presley team, and I traveled, to Europe, and we went to Belgium and fighting, and I was the anchor and stuff. And I came back, and I thought that I earned the right to ask Bruce Lee to spar. That was my whole thing. I just wanted to test myself out of no disrespect. And then for some reason, I thought maybe he wouldn't. I wanted to make sure that if I asked him, he would accept. So then I started boxing professionally, and then in '73, full contact karate came in, and I said, "What does that mean?" He says, "Well, full contact karate to the knockout." And I said, "And I won't get disqualified?" And he said, "No, it's to the knockout." And I said, "But I won't get disqualified?" And they said, "What do you not hear? It's to the knockout." That day, I went to Hawaii. Everybody was there. I ended up fighting 7 opponents, knocking out 7 of my opponents on Saturday. Sunday, it was the finals, and I was supposed to fight 4 more times, but the other 2 guys didn't want no more. So I fought Bernice White, was a Marine champion, and wow, what a fight that was. And we fought, and I beat him. And then my brother-in-law, Blinky, he fought Dana Goodson. And he's the favorite. He was 204, I think he was 245 pounds, 6'3". And I told Blinky, if I said, if you do not stop him, you're not going to win. In which my brother didn't stop him, because they didn't want to see my brother-in-law and me fight. They wanted to see, David and Goliath. They wanted to see me fight Dana, and I ended up beating him. So I stopped Dana in the 4th round, and that was my first title. Then I thought, when I get home, now I can ask Bruce to spar, and he would take me serious. And then he passed away. He moved on, and I thought to myself, because a lot of people were comparing me to him, and I said, "There's only one Bruce Lee." But there's only one Jet, there's only one Benny the Jet either. So I went traveling around the world, by the time I held the title up until 75, late 76, everybody was calling me a world champion. And I said, "How can I be a world champion? I haven't fought like this outside the United States." And he says, "Oh, you want to fight outside?" I said, "Yeah." So they said, "Okay." So they brought 2 Thai champions from Thailand. And they said, "You want to fight Muay Thai?" I said, "Yeah, I'll fight him." Honest to God, I thought that was his name. I said, "Yeah, I'll fight him." I said, "Yeah, I'll fight him." And because nobody ever seen that. And so they brought 2 champions, and Ernest Hart fought the first one, and he was winning them, and then he stopped Ernest. And after he stopped Ernest, and then I was the main event, I came out, and I saw him doing his dance, his prayer. I didn't know what that was. So I'm rocking out to his music, and all the Thai people think I'm making fun of him.
Mm.
And so, but I wasn't making fun. I was just into his music and seeing what he was doing, because I've never seen that.
It's amazing.
Yeah, he simulated shooting an arrow at me, and I put my thumbs up and I smiled, and he just had this look like, uh-oh. And when he went back and the bell rang, he came right at me. He kicked me in the thigh. Now I'd been kicked in the thighs before, Charlie horses, but I never had anybody try to break my legs. He kicked me in the thighs. You ever seen those dolls, when you squeeze them, the eyes pop out? He kicked me in the thighs. My eyes popped out, and I said, "Whoa, what was that?" So the bell rang. I tell my brother, "What do I do?" He says, "Kick him back." And I said, "Oh yeah." So I go back there in the 2nd round. I kicked him, and he leg checked me. I said, "Oh my God, that hurted worse." And so anyway, the fight went on and on and on, and all the Americans think he's cheating, because he's elbowing me and clinching me and kneeing me, and all the Americans think he's cheating. And so I didn't know what to do about that. So I grabbed him and I started throwing him on his head. I'm a good judo man, so I start throwing him, and the Thai people start getting upset because I'm throwing them, and they never seen that. And by the 9th round came, it started like a wave. They started fighting inside the audience, and it went up like a wave, and it went all the way around and they stopped the match, and they called it no contest. And so I ended up having a chance to fight again. And the good part is, I said, that's what I wanted to learn. I wanted to learn what he was doing that was bringing up emotions that I haven't felt in a long time. And I said, that's what I want to learn. And that's when I went traveling around the world, introducing kickboxing to countries that have never seen it or never heard about it.
So you were actually one of the first instigator of mixed martial arts then.
Absolutely. I started that back in '73. No weights, no weight divisions, no. There were actually no rules. There was no rules whatsoever.
No rules.
No rules. No weight, and it was elimination. If I was next to a heavyweight, we fought. I was against, actually I was the lightest one there anyway.
So Benny, tell me, what was your motivation? Like, what was it that was so driving you to be the very best?
You know what? I was having fun. It wasn't about me winning or losing. It had never entered my mind about winning. I just, because the first time I fought the guy and I hit him and he fell down, I turned around looking at the judge to see if I was going to get disqualified. I thought I was going to get disqualified, and they raised my hand. I said, "Oh, I didn't get disqualified, so this is okay." I started having fun because, to me, I'm really good under pressure, especially when it came to street fighting. A lot of people would challenge me because I was small, and so I had a lot of opportunity to understand what motions that came from the street. And so, as far as I was concerned, it was just another way, but only I had the mental edge because I had such training. I already had by four or five black belts in different systems by that time, and so I just had the mental edge on everybody, and they were really upset at me because I was smiling. I was having so much fun. I was smiling, and they said, "I'm a knock that smile off your face," and I just kept on smiling. I just being thankful that because without them, I couldn't do what I love doing. I was just thankful that they were in front of me.
So to you, martial arts was something that was fun, something that you excelled at. And so you were good enough at it that you could actually just enjoy doing it rather than always trying to become better and better than someone else.
Well, the better was when I fought this Muay Thai fighter, he pushed me to go out there, and because he brought out certain emotions I've never felt. In other words, I felt a threat in front of me. I felt that this guy, this warrior, put a threat in front of me, and I said, that's what I want to know. That to me was the art of war. When he put a threat in front of me, I went out there and I started designing shin guards. I designing different equipment, the Velcros for the gloves, so I can actually do my own thing and get myself better. I started, designing the banana bags, the long 6-foot bags. I started developing the uppercut bags and stuff. And because I knew what the body needed. And so my family, there was actually 9 black belts in my family, and there's 4 champions in my family. So for entertainment, we kind of fought each other, and my mother, being a professional wrestler, she was so insight of when it came to warfare. And my father was, a professional boxer, and he was very external. So I had, a little country, little city. I had a good balance between my both parents, plus my brothers and sisters.
Wow, that must have been a pretty interesting Thanksgiving table.
Well, just put it this way. I have 52 nephews and nieces, and there's my oldest brother, 6th generation, my youngest brother, 5 generations. And, there's so many of us, but we're all in the art. It's just the way of life for us.
Yeah. So now you're on a, I would say the Benny that I know is on a real spiritual path. And is that something new, or has that always been part of your training and part of your life?
My mother always used to talk about internal, about being able to understand the emotions, because my mother being a professional wrestler, she was always used to teach me the internal understanding. I'll give you an example. I would go from the kitchen to the living room, and my father would be watching boxing. I sit next to him, and he slapped me in the head and said, "Look at this, look at our, and because he wanted me to be the best." And I look at him like, okay, I'm watching. And then I would go back to the kitchen, and my mother would hug me, and she would tell me, that this is how my father, loves me and how he shows his love. He doesn't know how to verbally say it, so that's how he shows his love for me. And so my mother was always giving me insight. And I had 4 sisters, and 2 of my sisters were the ones that were always teaching me about the opposite, the female energy, and how they are, and how, because I know me, young, and most boys been taught not to cry. not to show emotion because it was weak and they'll take advantage of you. So we hid. And so it was taken from us, the emotional part, because we thought it was crying. So if we saw a girl crying, we would go, oh, come on, don't cry. Come on, you're stronger than that. Why? Not because we were trying to stop them from crying, because it made us feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So this is what we were doing. We were trying to stop them from crying because we were uncomfortable because we didn't know what to do with it. And we have not been taught that. So in that, as a child, I was taught from my mother at an early age. By the time I was 14, I had the biggest gym in Los Angeles. It was huge, and I was 14. And I used to train, and the gentleman I used to train that owned the whole block, I used to train his kids. So up until about 8 o'clock, and at 8 o'clock, the dojo will close, and then I close the curtains, and then it became the disco dojo. So I mean, that just goes to show you the roller coaster ride that I went on, because I was young, and I was really the fighting I can do, the teaching I love, and I think I got that from my mother. My mother was always telling me about the spirituality, about how the frequencies of thoughts and words and so forth. And I was just ahead of my time. I think I came in this world, I know I came in this world with it, should I say. And as you had said earlier, forget what you know, remember what you've forgotten. What you know is what you've been taught by programming your first teachers or your parents or whoever else around you. But what you forget is your brilliance of who you are coming in this world. This is what I'm passing back to the generation right now, that hopefully that they would do something better than I did with it.
So how do you go about teaching that, Benny? When you're with a student, how is it that you teach them to remember what they've forgotten?
Well, I put it this way. I teach, first of all, I teach people because the Woonology, everybody that cheated you, lied you, hurted you in some way, muscles have memory of it. And how they're activated by sight, by sound, by feel. So you ever had your father come and look at you a certain way and you say, oh my God, I'm in trouble. Or your mom will call your name a certain way and you say, who told her? Or they will grab you a certain way and will bring that emotion up like if it was just happening again. So muscles have memory of that. And so my job right now is when I go and work with somebody, I learn to clear all that muscle memory of all the emotional trappage, the anger, the fear, the frustration, the anxieties. I clear that first, and then I go back into the subconscious mind and reprogram the subconscious mind. It's almost like taking you back, all the way back to where you've first been taught. I'll give you an example. At this age that you are, I would, if you want to call it hypnotize or so forth, it will get you going backward and healing everybody that wounded you and healed, that did something to a point where they will stop you from being good. I take you all the way back to that little girl at 5 years old and collect that little girl and bring her forward to who you are right now, that you will be taking care of that little girl. That's your subconscious mind. And then the next step is to take you back to your mother's womb, to your brilliance. And that's your soul. The voice of your soul always knows to take you back into your mother's womb and collect that brilliance of who you are coming out of your mother's womb into the vibration of words that you are looking at. This are you going to be your teachers.
So how does all of that you just described, which is amazing healing work that I believe in completely, how is it that lives with fighting and martial arts? Like, tell me about how those two worlds come together.
Because the martial arts, first of all, it puts a threat in front of you. And when it puts a threat in front of you, all the emotions that you hide under your bed, all the emotions that you hide in your closet, it comes all up when you feel threatened. And the martial arts teaches you don't like the way you feel, change the way you think. We become reprogrammers and we reprogram. You don't like the way you feel, change the way you think. That's what we do. We reprogram the way you're thinking about certain things. So if I said to the windows of your eyes, this is how you interpret. But if I gave you 3, 4 different windows of the same thing you're looking at, now you got a chance to say, how come I never seen them? I said, you probably have. You just wasn't ready to receive them until now that you're asking. Now you're ready to receive them. So everybody is looking for a mentor. So, and the reason why we look for mentors is because you ever walk by somebody listening to him or her, and you said, did you hear what he said or she said? And they said, what? Nobody heard it but you. And you're saying, did you hear what they said? And you're saying, what did they say? They said this. What does that mean? But yet to you, it hit what we call a trigger point. It hit a trigger in you that it meant something to you. And just that little word or whatever it was that triggered that, it teaches you to move forward in your life on your journey. And so some people come from around the world just to come here and get trained under me. And if they heard one word, to them, it was worth the whole ride. It was worth coming to the other side of the world just to hear that trigger point that made a difference in their life. So we all look for mentors first because the brain, just remember, needs 3 things. The brain needs focus on what you want, that your soul can manifest it. Your brain needs a hero, that you may take the better things from that hero and make it yours. Your brain needs mantras to tell yourself that you are worthy of all the happiness. You're worthy of all the financial freedom. You are worthy of all of it. Because most people sometimes don't feel worthy. And if they don't feel worthy, they sabotage themselves going forward. You don't like the way you feel, change the way you think is what I do, reprogram.
Wow. So when to train with the world champion, you take them out on the floor, you work out with them, but how are they learning all of these ideas?
I do not.
No, you do not.
I asked them, why are you here? Well, I want to train kickboxing. I said, right down the street, there's a kickboxing. Why are you here? They said, well, I want to train your system. Okay. I have 4 or 5 instructors right there. He says, why do you want to train? And they said, well, actually, I want to train with you. And I said, okay, what do you expect from me? What do you want from me? Well, I want to learn kicking and punching better, this and that. I said, you can go right down the street and learn kicking and punching. What do you want from me? And they start to realize, wow, now that you put it that way, I want to stop being afraid. I want to learn how to control my anger. Then the truth comes up. Why? Because then they realize what I'm asking them. What do you want? And if they don't know what they want, I said, you know what? I can't help you if you don't know what you want. If you know what you want, I can help you. But if you don't know what you want, I can't help you. And then my question is to them. Do you believe I can help you? And someone will say, well, you're the champ. I said, I didn't ask you that. I asked you, do you believe I can help you? I guess. I said, you're right. I guess too. Because again, if you don't believe I can help you, I don't care how clever I am. I don't care what I take out of my magic bag of tricks, if you so-called, that's what you want to call. I can't help you if you don't believe I can. Because if you believe I can help you, we got to work in relationship. My job is to earn your trust. And when I earn your trust, I will push you right to the edge. And then my question is to you, do you trust yourself? And if you say no, then I said, I will not train you. Why? Because you will use me as a scapegoat. Well, you said this and you said that. And I said, but what do you say? So most people, that I earn their trust, then they got to trust themselves. If I push them to the edge, they got to trust themselves that they can handle it. And they have to trust themselves that I can do this. Otherwise, I won't go there with them. As simple as that. It's an earned right.
Yeah.
I don't care how much money you got. I don't care what you have. I don't care who you know. What I care about, what do you want in your walk, in your life? You know? So That's pretty much how we start a relationship. And without that relationship, I don't take them anywhere. If I got a good relationship, that means I got a working relationship with them. I will take them far, and I will teach them something different about themselves until they're ready to leave this earth.
Are you still doing movies, Benny?
I sure am.
Yeah. So you do a lot of teaching, like teaching stunt work and things like that too, right?
You know what? I teach people uh, basically on as a stunt coordinator and a choreographer and so forth. I teach them basically how to be able to have not only confidence, but again to be able to know how it, how to have an etiquette around the set. It's important because most people don't know how to act, how to act around a set. And sometimes you're in front of cameras, and really, it's the worst thing you can do is not know where to go, where to be, when the director is directing something and you're in his way. And I tell you, that's not the place to be.
That's for sure. What was one of your favorite movie projects that you worked on?
You know what? I'll tell you what. I did Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze, and I was stunt doubling with it at the same time, training him. And to me, it was a movie, but to me, it was like an everyday party.
Hmm.
It was everybody was having so much fun. Nobody would ever call that work.
No.
Everybody would be there extra early just because they couldn't wait to start. And I had a chance to really get a chance to work with Patrick, and Patrick and I became very close, and so we have a lot of different ideas when it comes to collaborating about what we're feeling in front of a camera and so forth. And we were doing a scene, and I was actually choreographing, and he was getting very frustrated about, I'm a dancer. Why can't I find the rhythm of this? And I said, okay, I see where we're going with this. And he was getting so frustrated because he's also a great martial artist, but it wasn't working for him because he was so in his head with trying to, digest of what I was trying to show him. And so I went home that night and I decided to put music, and I put music to different moves. And I said, well, because he's a dancer, he should get this. And so after I put all this together, I got music and choreographed a lot of stuff. And I went back and I went to his home, and he has a studio and stuff. And then I can see that in his eyes that is like almost like, oh, here we go again. And then suddenly I said, Patrick, watch this. I put on some music and I started dancing with technique. And every time I start dancing with technique, I can see his foot start tapping on the ground. I can see his shoulders start moving with me. And he started getting into what I was doing. He jumped up and he started dancing with me with this music. And I said, okay, practice this technique, watch with the music. And from that point on, every time I work with him, I had to work with music now. I started bringing music with even the choreography I was putting with music, and he got it like this. I mean, you're talking about within 5 minutes, he already had the fight down because of the rhythm. I got something that I knew that he can relate to, and I said, okay, so that's how he's receiving this information. And once I got it to him, he was off and running. And then at the point, the good part is he could not wait. He was almost, most actors, they're the stars, or should I say, they're the ones that they come in when they want to come in, and this and this, and then everybody's waiting for them. He would be the first one there, just because he was so excited to start.
Yeah.
And we had a good time. And so with Patrick, when we did Roadhouse and Sam Elliott, and so I had a really good chance to work with all of them, and completely different, all different characters and different type of fighting, which I had a blast.
Yeah, I love that. that show. That's a great movie. And the fight scenes were awesome. I didn't know you choreographed that.
Thank you.
So, so are you doing any more acting or more behind the scenes now? Because I know you've also done some acting as well.
Absolutely. Matter of fact, I was in China. We was doing a movie with John Cusack and Jackie Chan, and so we were doing. Actually, it's called Blade, and it was truly a story. And so they asked me, Jackie, and it was great reunion, with Jackie and John, and
Wow.
because I fought John in a couple of movies, and I fought Jackie, in 2, 3 movies, and then to choreograph them both, wow, it was fun. It was fun, and so they said, okay, well, we got a spot for you, because we want you to be in the movie. And I looked at it, I said, I didn't come here for that. I came here to fight through you and through Jackie. I fought you both, and now I'm going to bring out the best out of both of you against each other. And so they kept on saying, no, we want you in the movie. I said, where are you going to put me? You're going to put me as an extra? I said, I started with both of you in the movies. As an extra? I said, come on. I said, I didn't come here for that. And when we started choreographing, and I felt actually at the time, because I had John Cusack in such great shape. He was in such great shape that when we got there, I mean, truly, we were not running circles around his stunt guys, but let me tell you, we were running circles around their stunt guys. and Johnny and I were just having such a great time. And I saw Jackie get up slowly. And I said, oh, he must be sore. He must be, and then every time he would get up very slow. So I went up to Jackie. I said, Jackie, what's wrong with you? Come on. And he said, oh, my back. And I started realizing that all these injuries are now catching up. And so I tell John, I said, hey, John, you know what? He actually is hurting. And Jackie doesn't like to go to the doctor. Yeah, he doesn't like to go to the doctor. And his shoulder was torn. And he didn't want to go to the doctor. I said, Jackie. He said, no, it's okay. I'm just afraid to go. I don't want to go because he didn't want to hear what they had to say.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not going. I'll wait until after. And but we had a blast. It was, we were in the Gobi Desert in the middle of nowhere. And there was 450 extras. Could you imagine? Tents of all different, and you know what? They were about 450 horses and
oh my God.
all over the world.
Is this movie out? Is it out already?
Yes, it is.
What's it called?
It's called Dragon Blade.
Dragon Blade.
Yes, that's what they called it here, Dragon Blade.
Okay, I gotta check that out. I love Cusack and Jackie.
Could you imagine walking down at night? Beautiful. I mean, it was heaven there in the middle of nowhere. And you're walking down past these tents, and they all different languages. It was so biblical. It was different languages, and they were communicating by writing in the sand. They were drawing pictures in the sand, communicating. Oh, wow. 450 stunt guys from all over the world, and I'm walking. And I'm thinking to myself, "Wow, this is eerie." It was so eerie that listening to them trying to communicate. Some spoke broken English. Some if they want to call English, I don't know what they would call it, but they were trying to communicate, and they had some interpreters. Their friends try to interpret and stuff. That's how we all got along there, and it was. I tell you what, it was magical. It was magical.
You come from American Indian. Yes.
That's right. My mother's American Indian. My father's he's boss. He's actually Spaniard French. So and so he's from the northern Spain, which is a lot of French and Spanish, and they have a dialogue of their own. I could never understand my father anyway. My mother understood, but I couldn't understand my father. And but it was it got to a point where it was my cup of tea. Because I do a lot of hunting, I do a lot of tracking, I do, I love the nature, and I love what really Maker has given us and all the medicines out there. And there's so much medicine and survival out there, which is incredible. We truly, I'm a true believer that anything that we take from the earth, we give back to it. If we take an animal's life, then we give offerings before we take it. And if we're using something from the ground, we give it back to the ground, and we don't abuse it. And we're always asking Maker, even if, I had to, spit, I would ask, I said, I would ask Mother Earth, forgive me, and onward, because I take nothing for granted. I don't take life for granted. I don't take people for granted. I don't take nothing for granted. I stay in the moment of today. And in the movie, and anything I do, when I finish that movie and they say rap, it's a rap in my head. I mean, the next week you can tell me, what did you shoot? And I have to think about it. Because I'm so good at making a rap. When I design something, after I finish, it's a wrap. I move on to the next. And that's how I live my life, one day at a time. That way there's no regrets.
So is that something you learned from your mother? Or is it something you learned from all your training?
Absolutely, because again, I don't know. I know a lot of people do meditate, but there's so many different type of meditations. And I teach a certain meditation, which is the concentration meditation into a power meditation, into an action meditation. And these are for people that are aggressive like me. I have an aggressive soul. And because I have an aggressive soul, I teach this to my fighters. I teach it to my students, learning how to meditate. Because again, the first thing they do when they open up their eyes is what they say. And if you're one that gets up in the morning and say, oh, how am I going to get it through this day? I don't know. And that's how your day goes. But if you get up in the morning, your eyes open up and you say, oh, thank you. I have this day to be with people I love being with, doing the things I love being with. It puts that chemical together to give you an awe. It gives that rush. So, the I am concept is what you tell yourself in the morning. And I teach my students, and I have students that from 4 years old, I teach them how to meditate. I teach them from 4 years old, because that's when they're processing. That's when they're being taught. Like they're like sponges. And I teach them how to meditate at a young age. So by the time they're 10, they have great focus. And that way they tap into their gifts. Because again, a lot of people, I ask people, where does your power come from? I asked 700 warriors from around the world, 700 black belts. I was doing a seminar. I asked every one of them, who's here, where's your power come from? And did you know 4 people out of 700, 4 people said, raised their hand. I asked the first person, where's your power come from? He said, from God. I said, okay, so how do you receive it? And he looked at me with this look. I said, well, how do you receive the power? If you get it from God, you go to church, you say, God, give me power, and it's there. How do you get it? And he said, I don't know. Nobody asked me that. I said, I'm asking. He said, I'm not sure. The other one, he was clever. Where do you get your power from? Chi power. Where do you get it from? Breath medicine. I can break boards, I can break bricks, I can break ice. I said, that's external. How about internal power? He said, I don't know. He just shrugged his shoulders. I don't know. The third one said, okay, I get my power like a little bit about what he said, and a little bit about what he said. I said, but what do you say? Yeah, like what they said, And I said, okay, thank you very much. And the fourth one started laughing. He was a 6th degree, and he started laughing. He said, you know what? Hearing them, I realized I'm a 6th degree. I should know where my power comes from. But listening to them, I don't think I've ever been taught where my power comes from, other than the physical, external power. But internal power that you're talking about, I don't know. This is why I teach kids at a young age how to meditate.
So where does your power come from?
Again, the I am concept, what do you tell yourself? Imagine in your mind, I put what I call a workshop in your mind. And in this workshop, only you and your maker can enter it. And then you enter this where you come to recreate, rejuvenate, reheal. in this workshop. And in this workshop is covered with light, and only you and whoever you call your maker can enter. And in this, all your gifts that I can take you back to your mother's womb, and you can remember all your powers of where it comes from. So when you go into there, you can rest, you can rejuvenate, you can recreate everything you want. But when you come out of your workshop, your body only knows what controls the mind, controls the body, which is how's your spirit. If your mind knows what it wants and where it's going and where that power is, your body has better chemicals than any pharmacy in the world. You can create anything, even healing process. You can heal cancer if you know how. That's why the big monks, they isolate themselves up in these temples, and they can do amazing things, but take them out, bring them into an urban concrete jungle. Because in this concrete jungle, going through a mall, you ever walk through a mall and all of a sudden you say, why am I thinking that? Why am I feeling this? It's because your body is like a frequency and is connecting with all these different thoughts, anger, fear, frustration, anxieties, all these different things are going on, and you're picking them up and you're thinking, why do I feel that? So my question is to you, is that your character to think that? No. I said, so what makes you think they're yours? Because they're in my head. I said, but what makes you think they're yours? Well, because they're in my head and I'm thinking them. I said, okay, so what do you do with them? I don't know. That's the problem. The journey is about finding out. Find a mentor that can answer you verbally, physically, mentally, spiritually, that would answer you. Hey, that is a mentor. That is somebody that will guide you instead of saying, okay, this is how you look at it, but these are 5 different ways, other ways to look at it. And then you say, what should I pick? And if that mentor says, that's your choice. Because I'm not here to teach you how to live your life. I'm here to give you tools so you can live your life. That's what I am. I give you different point of views and the way you look at things that you may pick. And there can never be no wrong. And the reason why there's no wrong, because if it didn't work for you, you got 4 others to go with. So it's only a win-win situation.
What is the next level for you, Benny?
I'm sorry, say it again?
So getting a lot of back. So what is next for you?
Well, right now I opened up a stunt acting school. And in this stunt acting school, I teach power speaking classes, learning how to use your words powerfully. I teach people how to be in front of a camera. I teach people learn how to overcome their phobias. I teach picture fighting, stage combat. Basically, I teach you how to sell your gifts within you. Whether you go on an interview, whether you're talking to one person, whether you're talking to 100 people. And so this stunt school is very unique because I teach wire work, people that are phobias. I teach wire work. I teach, stage combat. I teach, all the arts. When it comes to the art of war, boxing, kickboxing, martial arts, weaponry, grappling, anything has to come, street fighting, anything that has to come with attacks. Because again, we all know we have mental warfare, we have spiritual warfare, we have character warfare, when we have verbal warfare. So there's a lot of different warfares, and you have to know what's in front of you in order knowing what to do with it. Okay, instead of not how to deal with it, because it's not about dealing with it, it's about knowing what to do with it. I am not an idea. I'm a solution. I teach a solution, not an idea. Everybody has ideas, but I'm not about an idea. I'm about a solution. So in this stunt acting school, I teach solutions into what you're asking for. Why you came to the stunt acting school.
So can you tell me about a time in your life when you actually learned that about yourself, that you were the solution, that you had this power? Do you remember a time early on when you first had a sense of that?
Since I was 14 years old, having the biggest school, and here, in Las, I know for a fact that I was remembering all my gifts. I was remembering my power. I was remembering what I came in this world with. And when people ask me, I teach doctors, lawyers, I taught, queens, I taught diplomats. And you know what? They all say, where do you get this information from? Did you go to college? And I said, no, I came in with it. And they said, what do you mean? I came in with it. I didn't go to school. I don't have certificates for all this, but I can tell you how it works. I can tell you how to do it. And I can tell you why not to do it like this. I can tell you internally, externally, and I can tell you how to balance it. I came in with it. So when people say, you have a master's in this and this and this and this, I said, no, I just came in with it. Well, how do you know? I know. I talk to the one voice of my soul. I listen to that voice only. If I should ask you, how many voices do you hear in your head? Some will say 2, 3, some will say legions. Point is, the voices in your head, if you listen to that one voice of your soul, the voice of your soul is always here for you and correcting you. And instead of saying, I knew I should have went with my instinct, I knew I should have went with, and you didn't listen to it. Because why? Those other voices said, oh, if you do that, oh, you don't want to do that, you're going to look bad, and all these voices, and then you don't end up doing it because you listen to all these other voices. To listen to the voice of your soul takes practice. It takes a knowing. And so to do that is a trust. And it's about trusting what? Trusting you. If you can't trust yourself, you can't trust anybody. If you can't love yourself, you can't love anybody. It's about you. Right from the get-go, it's always been about you. That is the power of your journey. It's about you.
And you say that you had a taste of that, or you knew that when you were 14?
Yeah, it's not only a taste of it, because I've been challenged many different ways. Challenged in the street. I've been challenged because, I'm small than the rest. I was younger than the rest, but yet I had all this knowledge. I had all this wisdom, and I can only answer that I came in with it because I was teaching adults. I was teaching doctors. I was teaching lawyers, and I'm working with scientists, and I have 2 of them, the rocket scientists that actually work with me, and they test me all the time. And they said, like, I'll give you an example. I said, 45, if you were facing me, I'm 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock is 45 to the left. And they said, no, Sensei, it's not 11 o'clock, it's 10:30. And I said, well, you say 10:30. I say 11 o'clock. If I test you and you go 10:30, I'm going to grade you wrong. I said, because you're coming to me and I say 45 is 11 o'clock and you're saying, hey, in your world, you call it 10:30. So be it. But you see, I'm always getting challenged in that way. However, if I make sense to them, they're okay with it.
Yeah.
So I have to make sense to them, first of all, because most of all, deep inside, I can see it in their eyes. They know I speak the truth because they're mirroring their truth. Not my truth, their truth.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sensei Benny.
My pleasure.
I am going to rewatch this show and take in more of the things you said. You gave us some real nuggets today, and I appreciate it very, very much.
My pleasure.
So that's it for this week. That was Benny the Jet. If you'd like to see more and learn more about what he's doing, you can go to his website at bennythejet.com. And don't forget to go to my website, mastermel.com, and sign up for my newsletter so we can stay in touch. Take care and blessings to you.
Thanks for listening to Kick Up Your Life with Master Mel. Each week, learn how to optimize your business and your life with Master Melodee Meyer as she speaks with thought leaders, athletes, entrepreneurs, and high achievers to discover their secrets of success. Kick Up Your Life with Master Mel every week right here on Radio Star Worldwide.